Sup, nerds? I'm Tom.
I'm Wes.
And I'm Aaron.
And we're taking a look at Reykholt, which is the new Uwe Rosenberg game by Renegade Games.
So one of the things that we've been talking about quite a bit in our reviews recently is our initial impression of games based on theme or some other factor about them as being I really don't think I'm going to like that. And gardening is one of those themes that I just couldn't not only could I not care less about it in a game, but even I played Herbaceous and I wasn't a huge fan of it, and just gardening, But then we played some of Uwe Rosenberg's other games, Cottage Garden, and I was we've really been having a change of mind of, hey, we really need to be open because even if a theme we don't really care about, the game might be really fantastic. So this is one of the games that I looked at and went, oh, it's gardening. Typically I'd be turned off by it, but let me give it a chance and really come at it with an open mind.
Because that's a designer that I trust and makes awesome games.
Yeah, I like the designer. I like Renegade Games. The component quality is fantastic. Let's do this.
And then you go, hey, it's a worker placement, so that's awesome.
I agree with Wes. I was, hesitant at first, but worker placement, Uwe Rosenberg, really great production quality. These little baskets with little handles on them, all the signs were pointing to yes.
But what?
But even after playing with the open mind, there were definitely still a few problems with it. And I think we all three of us have very varied opinions on what we think of this game. But I'll start off by saying that there's definitely some problems in it. One of them just being the balance of the game design. Because the board, those worker placement, every place you go has, an action you take. But some of them are definitely objectively better. When you seed things, when you're planting your harvest
Seeds
into your gardens, you there's spots that say seed at least 2 times or seed at least 3 times. So either one of those, if you have 5 things to plant, great, you're good to go. But if you only have 2 things to plant, you can't take the seed at least 3 times. You definitely want the seed at least 2 times. But if I'm going first and I want to seed 5 times, I'm going to take that place because I want to prevent maybe Tom can only seed twice, and I don't want to let that happen. So objectively, that spot is better for me to take than the seed at least 3 times.
I would have to agree that that's one of my biggest problems. Let me tell you, first of all, my very first play of this game, pretty terrible experience because, and actually, can you hand me the rulebook? Okay. You do worker placement to gather the stuff. You get the stuff. You seed it into things, and you harvest them. There's some ways that you can harvest from worker placement actions on the board, but there's also harvest time. The end of every round. During each harvest time, each player harvests 1 time from each of their filled greenhouses. Filled, to me, is a synonym for full. So I was I have to have this whole greenhouse completely full. And think about that. I was taking a seed, putting it into the ground, it multiplied, just so at the end of the round I could pull it right back out again. I net zeroed. Now, that is not the way you're supposed to play. Playing it the right way, where just any greenhouse you're supposed to harvest from, a lot better. However, I do not feel like it was my mistake in the rules in playing that way. Filled does not mean has at least 1, because they could have written takes from any
greenhouse that
has at least 1.
Yeah.
That's the correct way to do it. We had to board game geek it, and we played almost all the way through, and we were this is just so slow and terrible. So it's better when we play it right. But honestly, still just a little bit, because while that was a problem, the objectively better spots on here is a problem. The not a lot of balance in first player,
and that's the thing. A lot of worker placement games have spots that are better. Gain a more valuable resource or gain 3 and someone else's gain 2. But with that, there's typically some kind of balance with, okay, starting off with the first player, you go last, so you're going to get more resources now. Or first player gets 2 actions the first round and everyone else gets 3 actions the first round. Or some way to balance that. This doesn't have that. And also typically in the spread of the game, Like in a 3-player game, in 7 rounds, if you pass the first player marker around, it means that whoever starts the game is going to get 3 turns to go first. So not only do they get to go first, but they get to go first more times than everyone else.
In the 4-player game, there's going to be one person who doesn't get to go first twice. And that's just it. And with objectively better spots, I just get the objectively better spot.
Yeah. And while we're talking about negatives, like I'll just go ahead and get them out of the way, because I do have a lot of good things to say about this game. The graphic design of the board, the text on the board is unnecessarily small. Like, you could have made the board a little bit bigger. It doesn't fill up the whole box. Like, it could have been a little bit bigger.
The board definitely fills up the whole box.
Yeah.
Oh, you could have folded it again.
Fold it again or
Right.
something, or just change the graphic a little bit, because, like, sitting down for the first time playing, I had to, like, get up and, like, really I'm showing you what I had to do, but the text is small to a point of I felt like it was a detriment to the game.
I definitely agree with the font being really small and like the icons too, just because there's a lot going on the board. There's so many places to go. No matter what player count you're playing at, you never fill them all. There's always a lot of them that are left. And early game, we kept taking the same actions. It's just like, oh, I'm going first. I'm going to take this one spot. And like, then you're going to take that other spot that I took going second. And then you're going to take the spot that is typically taken by the third person. Like, you kind of fall into like a routine of, I guess that's what you do as a farmer. You're just like, okay, I'm going to get up. I'm going to get a new plot. I'm going to plant some stuff. So it's like repetitive. But like, there were spots that just didn't seem to get used.
There's spots on the board that we never used the entire game.
I know they're like, I guess like they could be used if you're in a certain situation. It might make sense, or if like all the spots that are taken aren't any good, all that are left aren't any good for you. It's just, yeah, there are some that like, unless we didn't play with all the different variations of these helper cards or whatever.
Yeah, because there's like the A's, B's, C's, and D's or whatever.
Maybe there's a couple that help some of those spots a little more. Like we had one that like, if you go to this spot or this spot and take an action, you get cauliflower as well. So it makes that spot that much better for the players that have that ability. Mm-hmm. It's not everybody at the table gets that ability. It's just if you choose to go to the city hall and get that action, like, I don't know.
So honestly, component quality is fantastic. I love the wooden bits. I love that each of the bits have a little container. The containers could get a little frustrating if you wanted to get like more than one. If you had like, all right, I need to get 6 tomatoes out. Like,
well, it's because the bits are so flat.
Yeah.
Like they flatten up in here. They take up the entire bottom surface. So I can't. And also it's a little tall. So I'm trying to reach in here. There's not a lot of space for my fingers to get in there, and they're all flat.
It's bad for people with fat fingers.
Oh, it's flat. Yeah, you have to do it like that. Yeah.
Shake it around.
And honestly, just for a like crunchy, grindy Euro, I enjoyed it. It wasn't super long. It went a little bit slow, but like,
because I was thinking a lot.
Yeah,
because there's definitely it's a lot of math. Like going, okay, I'm gonna get this plot, and I'm gonna harvest tomatoes now. I need them at the end of this round. I need 2, and hopefully in like 2 rounds I'll be able to use the 3, and then before like you're every time you get to the next level, you need more of it. So you keep going, okay, if I have enough plots to harvest a couple now, maybe I'll do some of the extra harvests on the board and then collect them from a couple of the other spots. Then I'll have enough to do this. And then you're like, okay, that's going to work. And then somebody takes one of those spots. So it's crunchy Euro where you're constantly thinking, am I going to have enough to do these things? I did like, though, as it's kind of like Mancala-esque. You're like, okay, I need 1 tomato here, 1 the lettuce here, you're just going down the thing. But once per, what is that phase even called?
Tourism, yeah.
During that phase, you get to collect one of the resources instead of spending it. So, like, you can use that to your advantage to, be like, okay, I'm just going to ignore this one resource and, focus on the other 4. And then every time I come to that one resource, I'll just collect it.
Yeah, or that makes it different.
Like cycle it, because like, all right, I collected 4 tomatoes this turn, so next time I get to the point where I need 5 tomatoes, I already have 4 of them, so it's easy for me to get another one and like rotate it out a little bit.
Yeah.
So there are some good things with the game. There are some parts that I enjoyed. However, for me, I feel like the parts that I didn't enjoy greatly outweighed them.
And I do think that like, well, I did enjoy the gameplay. The fact that I can see, like, the flaws, in my opinion, the flaws in the design kind of killed it for me. Because I'm like, like, and maybe that's like I think I need to get over, but saying like, I did enjoy it. However, I can see the problem, and therefore I'm not letting myself enjoy it.
I don't know, man. Like, well, a big part of it, dude, is it just they don't exist in a vacuum. Like, would I want to play this over anything else? Okay. Would I want to play this over most other games, especially other worker placement games?
Yeah.
Like, just the fact that the board doesn't get filled up. You know, I'm not that worried about you blocking me.
You never get it at extra workers.
There were definitely times where I was blocked, and I'm like, you did exactly, because you only have 3 workers per round, which is I feel like I want at least one more, because every turn I'm like really pressed, especially because I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go here so that next round I can go here, and then you go there, and I'm like, well, then I didn't need to go here in the first place, which again, that's part of what makes it that crunchy Euro, not necessarily a bad thing, but I can see how that was it that like frustrated you more than made you enjoy your experience.
Yeah, you're right. There are some parts of it that I was enjoying. The tourism thing wasn't so bad. Overall, this part aside, trying to do the math of what should I seed where and when, well, I'm gonna gain this at the end of the round anyway, so then I'll be 1 off from this. There was a little bit there, but it's like pulling back and taking the experience as a whole. Like, do I really care to have to play this again? And for me, it not really. I mean, granted, any game I will play again if, like, I don't want to use the word force. Not if I'm forced to, but if everybody's like, come on, man, everybody's doing it. We need an extra guy. Come on. I'll be like, all right, fine. Like, I said that even Feudum, like, the least likely thing that I'll ever replay. But if it was that scenario, sure. But picking something off the shelf. Are you ever gonna be like, showing Emily a game or something and be like, you know what? Let me show you this.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point.
I could see this as an intro to crunchiness. Like, if you've already played
that's a Butterfinger, yo.
But yeah, there's nothing like that screams like, oh, this is the best worker placement, or this is the best like garden simulator. Like, I kind of like, what's the one from TMG? Scoville?
Okay.
Harvest? I mean,
yeah, but Harvest had a very similar. You
okay,
had
I didn't
cards
play Harvest, so.
you had cards that were like these greenhouses, and they multiplied and stuff. And it was a worker placement game. So that, and I didn't really like that one that much, but I probably liked it better than this. But by a small amount.
If you do like this game, or if this is sounding like something you want, there is like a story campaign deck.
I kind of do want to try that, just to...
Well, here.
Sweet. Just see what the story
I wasn't supposed to open it. It's funny. I wasn't supposed to open this.
It says stop.
It says stop. But here it says stop. Attention, please do not open. Only open once you're familiar with the game. But on the other side of this card, it just says stop. Right? So it was sealed like that. So I just saw a stop sign.
Are you show them? You show me.
Yeah. It was sealed like, with just a stop sign, which... And I was like, that could just be a thing.
It could be the back of the cards.
It could just be the back of the cards. And then I opened it up, and as I was like undoing the wrapper, it rolled over, and I saw this attention, please do not open. I was like, oh, well, too late.
The one last little positive that I liked about it was there's like some tough decisions, and like, okay, so this whole time we're getting more and more plots to like, seed and get our vegetables, but there's some of these actions in the last row here that you get rid of your plots. So like, it's like right here, discard 3 greenhouses to immediately advance 2 spaces. So unless like those greenhouses are low, like you've already harvested most of them, they have like 1 vegetable in it each, or they're already empty, like you could be giving up a lot. Or like they in our game, we didn't really use them till the end game.
Like a last ditch dump everything.
But you could, if you, after playing it a couple times, like okay, I'm gonna harvest a couple times, get rid of these, and then I'm gonna get them again. But
I was actually thinking of the engine of one of the extra helper cards you can get. Says whenever you have exactly 4 greenhouses and you go to get 1 more, get 2 more.
That's where that would come in.
Every round, so you just have 4 greenhouses that you're working. Every round you go to get 1, so you get 2 more. And then you go to the place to discard 2 greenhouses to move up a table. So good. Every round you get an extra table, essentially. Like moving a whole table using 2 discs to move a table is not
It's not terrible.
I don't know if it's
Late game, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one where it's like 1 carrot, like it wouldn't be worth it. But yeah, once you're into the 3s and 4s,
Yeah.
I do want to leave you with this. I actually do feel almost a little bad having not a lot of good things to say about this game. Mainly because Uwe Rosenberg does a lot of good games that I like. Renegade Games does tons of games that I love. So I wouldn't want you to in any way throw out the baby with the bathwater here and think, that revert back to us before that little inspiring message at the beginning and be like, oh yeah, you're right, Tom. You were right to hate Euro games and dry games and games about farming. That's not the lesson here.
And there might be people out there that really enjoy this game. And if you think you might be one of those, you can definitely click on that link in the description box and order yourself a copy.
And while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored. I think the thing I enjoyed the least about this game was you complaining about how much you didn't enjoy it the entire time we were playing it.